Something I've been doing for quite a while now with change sponsors, change leaders and change practitioners is talking about how we can use recent insights from neuroscience or brain science, if you call it that, to help inform how we manage and lead other people through change. Really, we can't overlook the fact that 90% of what we know about the brain now has only been discovered in the last 7 to 9 years. So there's a lot of potential there to integrate these new findings into our practice and what we do. If you combine that with the current environment of VUCA, VUCA being the acronym for volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity, it's a term that's often used to describe the business environment that we're now in, an environment of constant change, continuous change, where change no longer has really a beginning, a middle and a defined end. So if we take into account those challenges that disruption brings, along with the new findings in neuroscience, we really have a lot of potential now to explore what we can do better and differently in these times of change, and especially keeping in mind the human factor. So let's talk about the human factor, right? The human factor, what we are learning more and more about now through functional magnetic resonance imaging, which all of you have probably heard of as fMRI, is that we can now measure what the brain response is to change. And we also know that we have a hardwired response to change. If that change is a loss or a perceived loss, we respond with threat and we go into a threat mode, and that's a primal response. If we see the change as a reward or a gain, the brain will activate a reward type circuitry, so we're quite happy about the change. So this is why some people respond to change differently to others. It's around their perception of whether it's a loss or a gain, and that's a hardwired response. So keeping that in mind, a lot of people have said to me, so what's that got to do with our bottom line, and why is it handy to know this? Well, if we have a look at the famous productivity dip, we all know that when we introduce change or someone has to do something differently, the productivity goes down because a lot of that energy, neural energy in the brain, is actually going towards applying that new knowledge or technique. So if we can minimise that threat response, that is a hardwired response when people perceive that change as a loss, what we're doing is we're minimising that productivity dip, and we know that productivity equals dollars, right? So if we can minimise that productivity dip, we are actually saving money and helping our business and especially our people, the human factor, be more productive. That's really just a really quick overview for you. If you want to know a bit more about this and how we can apply it in our change practice, whether you're leading change or you're a change manager or a sponsor, there's a white paper on my website, so take a look.